It's live. It's live. I'm live. Um, and it's about 5:10 Thursday evening. Let's see. I'm going to go on to YouTube and see what's going on. If we got any friends live. My cat just came in and headbutted me. Let's see. I'm going to take it nice and slow here. Conversationally speaking, as we wait and see if anyone shows up. So far, I don't see anyone live. But that's not true. Gemma's Journey, Grace is live. Jenna's a autistic young lady that lives in Great Britain, and she has a great channel where she talks about life from that autistic perspective. Squirrel Sniper is here. Says, greetings again, Eric. Squirrel Sniper, how are you? It is what it is. Lewis is here. I can sense the tension from Eric, trying to find out what's happening with his live. Yeah, it was all over the place. Lewis says, hello, Eric in chat. Just having a lovely brew. Awesome. So is everything all set for Leo Said So, hitting the Holy Grail, getting his 1,000 reps? On a sad note, and Brian mentioned this, but I somehow missed it. He was taking wonderful care of a sick possum, but unfortunately it passed away. This is a big weekend. You're running 10 miles, you're doing 1,000 reps. Lewis says, I don't know what's up in the air as far as the collaboration goes, but yes. He's got the right attitude. He's not going to see how fast he can do it. He's just going to get the reps in. And I think that's the best way to approach it. I tell people in training for an ultra marathon, and I hear them setting time goals for their first one, don't even worry about a time goal. It's a 100-mile race. Finish the race. Get the experience. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and you're going to learn from them. But if you go out too fast, you're going to cut the race short, and you won't have the opportunity to make those mistakes. Making mistakes is vital to learning how to live. Lewis says, I saw that from Brian. How sad. Yeah, because he took such great care of it, of him. Lewis says, yeah, Leo is doing it right for sure. Well, you know, he's got a good example to follow. He's a big fan of It Is What It Is. As he should be. If you want to see how it's done, there's no better example than It Is What It Is. You guys know that I'm a Big fan of Busy Dad, Max Edwards. Um, but honestly, I think people starting out do long sets, do short sets, do long sets, um, but don't set any big goal of how many can you get in 20 minutes. Not yet. Build the foundation. And then if you want to specialize, if you want to see something different. So in that respect, Leo Setso really did a good job. He just did his reps. It's the same with Brian Lane. Um, it's just, and Brian's got a great foundation to begin with. But you just keep doing those reps and doing those reps. Lewis says, appreciate that, Eric. Of course. You see, I went straight into Busy Dad. And then I sort of did some Iron Wolf stuff. And then, through my own training, I started letting things go and just doing things from my own perspective. I do everything else nasal breathing, and I thought, so why am I not doing my burpees nasal breathing? And it was a game changer for me. Might not be a game changer for everyone, and it doesn't have to be. Each of us, we find our own thing and our own way of expressing. Maybe you guys are tired of me hearing, tired of hearing me say that, everything in life, everything that we participate in becomes a work of art. It's no different than burpees. Burpees are your own personal expression of fitness, each and every rep. It says a newbie shouldn't be going all out because the point of all of it is to keep going the next day. I agree. And of course, for Max, because he is busy dad, he is a busy dad. He wasn't doing it every day. So he was 4 days a week. And he had a powerlifting background. He wanted to maintain muscle. So for him, it makes perfect sense. And even for me, it made perfect sense. I was coming from, ultra running. I was coming from kettlebell sport. I was coming from powerlifting. So I had been doing body weight training for a long time, just other things. But yeah, just getting the reps. Perseverance. And just like I was saying with ultra running, making some mistakes, learning from them. If you don't go a long time, you're not going to learn. You're not going to learn what it's like. Our friend Destiny is here. Blessings and happy Thursday, Eric. How are you? Just checking in on you. I'm doing pretty well. I'm here talking with our friend. It is what it is. Squirrel Sniper has been in and out. He's drinking an evening beer. I have never drank an evening beer in my entire life. I've drinking probably like 27 evening beers in a single night before, but never just a evening beer. And this is why I don't drink. So I've also been mentioning that I'm doing a short course on somatic breathing, somatic breath work, and trauma-informed care. Really fascinating. Speaking epigenetics, the trauma that we experience at some point in our life literally changes our biochemistry, literally changes how our genes are expressed. And then it's passed down generationally as well, which is why children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren of alcoholics have a tendency to inherit that disease. A lot of people don't consider alcoholism a disease, but when it's been studied from an epigenetic and a generational epigenetic position, then we see that it is. Um, I think we get that confusion when people say, well, it's a choice. You chose to drink. Not necessarily so. You know, we learn genetically speaking, free will doesn't work that way. And choices don't work that way either. Um, because we're all underneath a cloud of delusion on who we are, what we are. Um, in yogic psychology, they talk about the five kleshas. We're pushed and pulled by our aversions and our attachments. Uh, Savoya, am I saying that right, my friend? Says, hey, hello, how are you? Appreciate you being here. She says, this is very interesting. Well, thank you. Peace and serenity in the chat. Uh, it's like the days of our fellowship of beingness. I agree. I was talking about that a little bit earlier. Although, you know, I take it all, whatever it is, whatever comes in the chat, whatever comes in my life. And sometimes life is messy, unfortunately. But, you know, Lewis and I were talking about burpees. Sometimes burpees are messy. Sometimes not every rep is perfect. And that's how we learn. That's the importance of doing those really long sets of burpees. So in the five kleshas, the mind is reacting by its attachments, by its attached to how things are. We don't want things differently. And the mind is reacting to aversions. We don't want things to be this way. We'd rather them be like our attachments. And then number three is our fear of death, especially in Western culture. We don't like to talk about it. We'd rather keep somebody alive and suffering than help them end their life in a peaceful manner, medically speaking. And then the fourth is false belief, that we believe that we are a limited personality, a limited self, that we are our thoughts and not the awareness of our thoughts. And then the fifth klesha that rules our lives, the decisions that we think we make. This is why there's no such thing as free will until we see that the mind, again, is under this cloud of delusion. And then once we can see through that, let me get to the fifth one. The fifth klesha is ignorance, that we don't see that the mind is ruled by fear, false belief, aversions, and attachments. The only way you can cure ignorance is through education, which is another way of saying awareness. Not education by acquiring knowledge, but by being aware. Simply being aware, wow, I'm reacting because of my attachments. I'm reacting because of my aversion. I'm reacting because of fear. I'm reacting because of a false belief. Question. Just question and question and question. Why do I do this? Why do I have the same reaction to every situation in my life? Why do I lash out? Or why am I verbally abusive? Or why this or why that? And when we ask, everything begins to change because we're aware. Everything changes to awareness because that's who we are. We're not our thoughts. We're not our beliefs. We are awareness. Destiny says, Lewis, I just watched your morning burpee replay. Always inspirational. I managed to be able to catch a little bit of it live. Destiny says, Eric, your live was my place to come to find peace, wisdom, knowledge, and love. Thank you for that, Destiny. And I hope it still is. Even amidst some of the chaos, I love these times. I love these times with the OG, the original guard, the friend chatting with Lewis, with Destiny, with new friends uh, like Savoya, with our dear friend Elise. But, I try to learn from that chaos as well. Am I being reactive or am I being responsive? Am I serving others or am I serving my ego? Am I insisting things be my way or am I just opening to the experience itself? Even though I don't, just opening to an experience doesn't mean that we have to like the experience. It means that we're just open to it. These are my preferred conversations. As Jesse said, peaceful, just full of love, fellowship of beingness. Um, but you know what? I'm thankful for those bigger live stream sessions because that's bringing new people and new energy as well. They say there's a dark side to every wish. So when you wish to grow your channel, um, you got to accept that sometimes, I've had people come in with the only intent of entering a bit of chaos. And they do a good job of it. So, Elise says, peace, beautiful destiny, forever walks PhD. It is good to see Elise. We haven't had the pleasure of having her live for a while. What I'd love to do sometime is have a live stream with an actual live experience with Destiny, an actual live experience with Elise, either all together or separately. Would be a lot of fun. Destiny, I was thinking about you and Ayurveda, the sister science to yoga that deals with diet and health, mental and physical, food combining, eating for what they call doshas, which is our energetic body type. And I thought, what a perfect thing for Destiny. Elise says, I'd love to see that as well. Destiny says, Eric, everything has its season. Seasons come and go. When an old season is once gone, and we just going into new lessons. Wise words. And seasons are a perfect example. Anything from nature is a perfect example because you don't see summer bemoaning. It's not often I get to use the word bemoaning in a conversation. You don't see summer bemoaning its passing and turning into fall. It happens with grace. Summer simply passes. And yet, I wrote the other day about I was overwhelmed by greenness. I was out in the woods on the bike path. I was looking for my daytime owls that I like to film. And I was just overwhelmed by just that deep, deep presence of green. It's so green this time of year. I absolutely love this point in spring. Destiny says, Eric, share with me in one of my comments on my channel. I want to know exactly what you're talking about. I will. I'm going to make a note. It really just seems like the perfect, you know, um, I called you a yogi, I called you a karma yogi, and I still believe that. But at the same time, I was thinking with Ayurveda being the sister science to yoga, just an extension of yoga. We can call it dietary and exercise yoga. Um, it really seemed the perfect how Ayurveda says that you are not, or states, you can't take care of the body without taking care of the soul. um, as well as the emotions. That you can't just change your diet without changing your mindset. You can't just change your mindset without making dietary changes as well. Um, a lot of the little things that I do, like tongue scraping, is a Ayurvedic prescription. It cleanses the harmful bacteria, and then you do a mouth swish with oil, preferably coconut oil or saffron oil, um, and it helps replenish the good bacteria in the mouth. Those are the little things with the nasal cleansing, nadi. I forget the actual definition. All of those are like included in the teaching. But there's all kinds of very inexpensive online certifications, and if you, I'd love to, I'd love to gift you a course, Destiny, from me to you. Oh, anyway, before I go back to reading the comments, I was awash in the greenness of the world, and I had the little realization, the insight that within the depth of that greenness, the greenness itself is an illusion. Green isn't in the leaf. It's the red. Red. I forget the other color. I'll have to look it up. I wrote about it. It's actually on my community page. Red and yellow combine in the chlorophyll to reflect the color green. So we're not actually seeing green, we're seeing the illusion of green. Although when it's so overwhelming like that, an illusion is as good as the real thing. So the colors of autumn are already in the leaf in the midst of summer. We just don't see it. And when we realize that, though, we see the transient nature of everything in life. And once that really hits, there comes with that refusal to cling. We just don't cling to things as much because we know everything is changing. And that when summer becomes fall, fall will become winter, and then we're back to the green again. At least Cecily, I hit the like on my way in. Thank you for that. Cecily says, good for you. Lisa says, I love this point in spring as well. I went my walk earlier, and it looked like parallel reality, like New Earth. Yeah, it's just so beautiful. Destiny says, please like and share out the host's amazing channel. Thank you for that. Elise says, I do pulling with coconut oil. Awesome. Reaper says, can I have coffee in your house? Absolutely. 100%. I got to tell you something, though. I only have 1 cup a day. And I have it after my morning meditation, after my first round of yoga, and as I'm writing. So I'm up at 2:30. I meditate and I do my breath work. I do a little bit of chanting on my mala beads. I do my yoga, and then I'm at my desk. I'm writing and I'm drinking my coffee. So by the time I have my coffee, it's at 4 o'clock. and it's instant coffee, but it's organic, so it's really good organic instant coffee. So if you like instant coffee and you don't mind getting here by 4 o'clock, and you don't mind drinking your coffee in silence, because I really do my best to cultivate that sense of silence, although I do have conversations with my cats. One day Reaper's going to come in and say, man, just give me a yes or no answer. And if I did, the answer would be yes. Lisa says, profound message, Eric. Thank you. Eric Point says he drinks coffee pretty early, Reaper. I do. Desi says, Eric, you're too kind, as gentle as a baby kitten. Hashtag, don't let people take your kindness for weakness. And hashtag, you deserve so much better. Well, thank you for that. Desi says hello to Eric Lapointe. I've seen Destiny over on Eric Lapointe's channel, checking out the nature shorts. That always makes me feel good. Reaper says, I don't mind. You don't mind the early morning or the long answer? Hey, our friend Noble is here. Hello, Yogi. Noble, how are you? Are we going live anytime tonight? I did a skim around YouTube to see if you were live. Destiny says, thanks everyone for joining. Just Yogi do a burpees in his basement for his live discussion. Noble is in the house. Reaper says early morning. I absolutely love my early mornings. I mentioned this before. I write about it quite a bit. In yogic Vedic traditions, it's called Brahma Muhurtai. Pardon my Sanskrit. Which literally means the hours of God, or the hour of God. But by right, it's more than an hour. It takes place, I believe, like 40 minutes. My time frame might be off a little bit. About 40 minutes or more before sunrise, and about 45 minutes after sunrise. And it's the most sacred time of the day. It's when we will clearly hear the voice of God if we quiet our mind enough to actually listen. That this is why Rumi, the great Persian poet, said, don't go back to sleep. There are secrets. The dawn is whispering, don't go back to sleep. Destiny says, Eric Lapointe has some beautiful nature videos too. He does, absolutely. And of course, he knows my favorite. Let's see. I had it up just a few minutes ago. Hold on, guys. That is Eric Lapointe's Portrait of a Holy Cow. Hey, Eric Lapointe says he just subscribed to Elise. It's going to be soon. Elise's channel is going to be filled with amazing content. She has a plan. Elise is a very careful person. Um, Amazingly, she's a very careful person uh, with a deep intuitive sense as well. She'll intuitively feel this is direction to go, and then she will plan. It's an amazing like dichotomy between the two. I think it has to do with having a heart filled with faith that things are going to work out. Noble says, hello, Eric. And Eric, I'm trying to figure out which one am I. Noble says, the fair yesterday went fantastic. Awesome. Did you stick with the cotton candy machine? Lee says, I'm working on videos as we speak. Our friend Goldie is here. Hi there, lovely people. Hello there, lovely Goldie. Lee says, thank you, Eric. It is about faith. So, speaking of those early mornings, that is the time to develop our faith, because the communication with God is the voice is clearest. And the reason the voice is clearest isn't because God is speaking louder. The presence of God is consistent. Doesn't need to scream, doesn't need to shout, because it's presence. However, we don't hear that because our own minds are so loud. Our own ego is always shouting and shouting and shouting. Our friend Brian Lane has been talking about that quite a bit. Sometimes laying in bed, listening to his own ego, and he says it can feel like a prison. That is where Yoga Nidra can be very helpful. Having a voice guide us to that deeper sense of relaxation. Oh, Destiny says, Eric, just a friendly reminder, don't use the S in the chat. Say things like left a gift at your door. Words like that can spam the chat and hurt the host channel. Thank you. I do forget that. Eric Lapointe had a brain freeze. Hey, our friend Thomas is here. Thomas, how are you? Oh, you know what? Thomas had some burpees today, and I meant to check them out and forgot to make my way there. So we're going to fix that. Thomas, how are you? Excuse me 1 second. Thomas said I actually did them yesterday, but was too slow to upload. So I mentioned Gemma's Journey's Grace is live as well. You guys can check her out. She is a young lady in Great Britain who talks about life from her autistic point of view, her artistic expression, being an advocate. First and foremost, being an advocate for herself, and then that allows her to be an advocate for others as well. I mentioned that before. The other day, we were talking about kindness and forgiveness, and how often it is that some of the kindest people that I've ever met, it's almost an inability for them to be kind and forgiving to themselves. It's just easier to have that outward focus, and they're always so hard. Gordy says, Gemma's Journey Grace. Yes, She is live right now. Um, let's see. And it's the same with being an advocate. I know amazing advocates who are just unable to be an advocate for themselves. So it's great to see someone who can do both. Sometimes I think we need to start with um, our own inner work. Thomas says that he's good. His son is at his first Kempo lesson right now. Awesome. I did Kempo for a while, and a mixture of Kempo and Taekwondo, and my instructor moved away, and I couldn't find another good one. I didn't want to join a studio. Um, at the time, I just had an issue with becoming a studio black belt. Not that you can't get good teachings, but back then you had a studio on every corner, it seemed. And with my former instructor, he was a student of Ed Parker himself. Goldie says, how was your day so far? My day was pretty good. I have enjoyed every bit of it. I got to spend a little bit of time with Mocha and Misty. I got to go live again. Thomas says he's been swimming a lot lately. It's that time of year. Destiny says that message was for Eric LaPointe, Eric McCarty. You are the host, and you can say what you want in your own channel. Okay, that's good. That takes gives me a bit of relief. I don't have to worry about messing up. Thomas took his mother-in-law shopping. That's awful nice of you. Destiny says, Thomas Fahey, where have you been? I'm glad to see you. Our friend Laradox is here. It says, sorry I'm late. You're never late, my friend. Destiny says, or I'm sorry, Elise says, I feel we need to start with our own inner work. I agree, 100%, because we have more to give. We have the same amount to give. We just don't realize it. We don't have the means of releasing it. We don't have the means of releasing our gift fully if we don't do that inner work. And that inner work, I think, might be dependent upon you and your calling. It might be getting up at a certain time in the morning and being on your knees and praying, listening to the silent voice of God. It might be what I do, breath work, meditation, walking in nature. It might be saying the rosary beads. It might be, who knows? But it's important to discover it and then to keep doing that inner work. Again, Miss Mocha and Misty and a heart. Thank you for that. Goldie says yes to Elise. Goldie is someone who has done her own inner work as well. And of course, it's I don't think it ever ends. My friend Robert Saltzman, who wrote the book, The 10,000 Things, and Depending on Nothing, likes to say, awakening never ends. And awakening, we can replace inner work with awakening. Thomas says, this place is the Parker lineage via Planus. Awesome. That's a great lineage. Thomas has been hitting the punching bag. That's your thing. Thomas and It Is What It Is both inspired me to a little different path with my burpees, slowing things down a bit, not always seeing how many I can get. And then with our friend Duncan, he inspired me to put in some high intensity intervals. So now I have the best of both worlds. I got that high intensity, but not too punishing. Um, and then I have the slower stuff. Thank God for friends. Therodox says, please, could I get the wrench back? I won't be in these streams much longer. Therodox, I think soon. Um, because you have been proving yourself quite a bit, and I appreciate that. Um, so let's just give it a little time and let everything lie down and all of us relaxing. Um, and then, when it's natural for all of us, we'll slip it right in there. And I hope you stay on the stream, and I hope you keep working on your channel. Therodox says, Yogi, I've been connected with the woods since I was born. That's awesome. And North Carolina is a great place to do that. Some of my favorite places in the world are North Carolina. Eric Point says, I agree, Goldie. What we're hoping to do, Goldie had an excellent point yesterday, and Destiny reiterated it today, that, we got such a good group of people that come in here, and we work to create a sense of healing, sanctuary, kindness, where people can come just to relax and talk. So I think it's great, Laradox, that you're here, and I appreciate you being here. And I think you're definitely, I don't want to say proving yourself. No one has anything to prove, certainly not to me. But you're becoming more and more relaxed, and I appreciate that. So when we give it some time, when everyone feels comfortable again, you'll definitely get it back. Detsy says, exactly, Elise, I did inner child healing therapy videos on my channel this morning. That was excellent. Everything must start with ourselves. I'm going to, a quote I say all the time, because I love that when Destiny says everything must start with ourselves, because it reminds me when Ramana Maharshi was asked, how do we treat other people? And he said, there are no others. Inner work is community work. When I'm at peace, my world's at peace. And then it spreads and it spreads and it spreads. That's what Ramana Maharishi termed the Maharishi effect. It's always funny, though, when you talk about diminishing the ego for spirit to rise, and then you name an effect after yourself. I'm not 100% sure he named it after himself, but it is that as our vibrational quality rises through meditation or through prayer, we affect others around us. They become more peaceful, even if they don't pray or meditate. And I think we've all seen that. We've been around others who just invoke a quality of peace that we might not have noticed about ourselves, but just by being in their presence. And then we carry that with us. And then someone comes to us and they get that same quality. And then it spreads and it spreads and it spreads. We literally contain the seeds of world peace within each and every one of us. But it only happens when we cultivate our own inner peace, when we do the inner work. And again, your inner work doesn't even have to resemble my inner work. Goldie and I have different spiritual practices, but we're equally committed to, one, our own healing, and two, doing our best to be a healing vehicle. I think maybe we both agreed that, I think maybe all of us would agree, it's not us. we're not healing anyone, but we can open ourselves to be a healing blessing for God's work. And that's the true inner work, just letting stuff go. All that baggage that we carry through life, just letting it go, becoming more pure for uh, God's love to be expressed. In yogic psychology, it's the three gunas. The gunas are Gunas. Gunas are the energetic quality found within all matter, everything, including us. And there's three of them, um, different temperaments, with sattva being purity. And our goal through life is to increase our purity, is to move. We're never any pure, any one of those. We're always a combination, but we seek to get that purity in a higher proportion. And we do that through diet and yoga, through diet, through the postures, through the breath work, through meditation. All food are found in the same three gunas. So that's why there's the yogic diet, where you want to eat pure natural food, as close to nature as possible. Less processed, nothing manufactured. Thomas says, I found an opportunity for volunteer work. I need some extra work. That's awesome. There's a Dharma Center here, and I offered Qigong, which they're ecstatic about. Well, that's like right up. That's like perfect Thomas stuff to do. I could see you being a great teacher. I think Qigong, even more than the yoga asanas, I think Qigong teaches patience. You always ask to be mindful, to slow things down and slow things down. Lisa says, Cecily, that is wonderful, and I would love to check out. You definitely had some really great content today, as she always does. But I always appreciate, especially, I shared it out as well, her sitting down and discussing nutrition and healing. Thomas said had to recondition my necks and feet, but hardening back up. Great. Thomas says, Paradox, you a fan of our friend Paradox? Nope. Two different worlds. Squirrel Sniper is back. It sends greetings to everyone. How was the brew, Squirrel Sniper? Paradox says, I know I haven't done anything worse than anyone else, and I know it's because I'm a Christian. Absolutely not because you're a Christian. And it's not who's worse or who isn't. And by the way, quite a few Christians here. One of my first conversations in the chat with Goldie was about Christianity. Paradox is officially leaving. Goodbye. Well, I'm sorry to see you go. If the friendship depended upon having a wrench, I don't know. Goldie says, I remember being a child in my hometown. Almost every weekend except winter would be out foraging for mushrooms or just taking a walk in the woods. Yeah, I spent my entire childhood in the woods, absolutely loving it. And I was fortunate that I grew up in a place that valued open space and woods and fields, and that my family And I was born in Pennsylvania, and my family was from Pennsylvania, way back up in the hills. Absolutely nothing. Nothing but mountains. One stoplight in the whole county. And we would visit often. Eric Point says, I'm sorry, did I say something wrong, Destiny? Nope, nothing wrong. There's all sorts of like red flags on YouTube on what you can say or not say in live streams. None of it makes sense to me. They should be, everyone should be relaxed in the dialogue that they have in the, but YouTube. Thomas says, relaxing is what I've been up to, burning incense and laying by the pool. Goldie says, don't even dare play the hated because I'm Chris Larodax, not with me. This is true. Elise says, yes, the true inner work is letting it go. It's a beautiful organic releasing, not force. Exactly. You can, amazing. We think about letting go, and it's such a wonderful offer and opportunity. And we immediately say, well, that's what I'm going to do. Of course, we can't do it. We can't let something go. Letting go happens. Surrender happens. All we can do is prepare ourselves for the letting go. And we do that through prayer. This is why my favorite prayer, the prayer of St. Francis, he's asking, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there's hatred, let me sow love. He's asking to let go of all that stuff that is preventing him from being an instrument of thy peace, because he knows he can't do it by himself. So a lot of people say you don't need to do that inner work. It's all about surrender and letting go. And since you can't do it, you just have to let it happen. So why do the inner work? Why meditate? Why pray? Because that's the work. That's the work that needs to be done before the natural, as Elise said, the organic releasing happens. And our inner practice, our inner work isn't, again, as Elise said, it's not forced. It's what we do, and we learn to do it joyfully, happily, easily, relaxed. Thomas says, my Tai Chi teacher reiterated the same idea about Qigong healing. Always remember you are not doing anything, but rather allowing space for the healing to do it itself. Well, both Thomas and I love to talk about non-duality, and that's the essence of both Bhagavad Gita and the Tao Te Ching. There is no doer, and yet everything gets done. We learn to relax and allow it to happen. Thomas says, love the space, Eric. Thank you. Thank you, Thomas. Always appreciate it when you have the time to come by and chat. This says, great message, Thomas. Eric says, Jesse, I'm not sure what message was for me. Oh, it was about using the word subscriber. That it can act as a YouTube trigger, and I guess cause some kind of issues. Thomas says, that was my thing before I became a father, so I'm just getting back to myself. Almost like a rediscovery. It's also one of the best gifts that you can give a child. Doing that inner work that allows you to heal, and you just become a kinder, more gentle, more patient parent. a stronger parent, because there is strength in letting go. Squirrel Sniper says, getting ready for next week. I have been commissioned to carve some owls and rustic benches from fallen trees next week, and have been doing some sketches and designs. It's awesome. Are you going to share any of it on your channel? Thomas says that sounds awesome, and Goldie says that's excellent news. It certainly is. Destiny says, Eric Lapointe, you don't say anything wrong. I was just reminding you how to say, I left a gift for your house instead of using the S word. Friendly tip, YouTube guidelines, which is much appreciated. Thomas says, got to pick up my son now. Love y'all. See you on the burpee side. I'll be there. Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate you coming by. Squirrel Sniper says to Thomas, the first note of the contractual arrangement with Holy Spirit is the healer recognizes that he is an instrument of the healing energies of earth and heaven. He or she does not heal. Agreed 100%. Goldie says, I have woods 5-minute walk from the apartment building I live in. Man, it's so great to have woods nearby. It's the energy of trees. That's going to bring up a conversation with Eric Lapointe. The word fractals are going to come out any minute now. Hey, Goldie, how's the garden going? Squirrel Sniper says I would borrow my son's GoPro and get some footage. Awesome. Goldie is impressed that he has a GoPro. I thought about getting one. Mocha wanted one for when we were racing, because it would be so great to record everything we're seeing when we're racing. Goldie says the inner work is done with the approval, but with the power of God. Agreed. And well said. Lee says, love the chat convo this evening. Me too. And Goldie says, me too. Well, I think, we're talking about doing our inner work. And I think probably every single one of us here has committed to that inner work. So it's really no surprise that we're having such an awesome conversation. Goldie says, free speech left the YouTube streets a long time ago. That's a shame. Destiny is offering well wishes to Thomas while he drives. Lee says, one of the hesitations we had in starting my channel is all the rules and regulations. It's hard to keep up and doesn't make sense, but it won't stop me. I'm inspired by you all. Elise is going to have an awesome channel. Destiny says, thank you for understanding, Eric Lapointe. You rock. Much love. Goldie says, Elise, you can do it. Yes, she can. Elise is one of the most creative people I know. Multifaceted. Goldie says, when I was first off, it was raining, so the garden is stagnating. Well, I hope it clears up soon. And I'm sure hopefully the rain's going to do it good. We've had an awful lot of rain here. I'm going to take my pill. Gordy says, Eric Lapointe, if I believed in reincarnation, no insult intended, I must have been a fairy in a previous life. The woods make me happy. Yeah, me too. Eric Lapointe says, fractals. I was literally, every time I go out, literally bathing in the fractals. I always, and I talked about with Goldie not long ago. I always love the fact that Jesus turned to nature. Squirrel Simper says, Eric Lapointe, have you come across the theory that some of the shadows on the moon are the negative reflection of Earth? I say some because there would be more land um, as we have in the Antarctica Treaty. I haven't heard that either. Squirrel Sniper, I'm reading about the dreaming right now, the Aboriginal concept, similar to the Tantric Void or the Tao, um, that dreaming is a presence of which everything emerges from. And I can't help but think of you often as I'm reading through it. Eric's big thumbs up for Goldie, and he's going to look it up for Squirrel Snipers. Goldie says Jesus always prayed to nature, went to teach in cities and synagogues, which just seems so on point. Of you spend that time in cities, and you just need to get back out in nature and reestablish yourself. Destiny says, thanks everyone for joining Yogi for his live discussion. Your presence and participation is very much appreciated. Much love and thanks for the love and support. Beautifully said, and thank you for that. And I love that key word, your presence and keywords, your presence and participation. Because each of that is highly, highly valued. Making sure I didn't miss anything. Amazingly, I've been right on top of the discussion. Haven't fallen behind a bit. I was talking about that earlier today. And you guys can let me know what you think about that. For me, personally, I don't mind falling behind so much because every single comment is worthy of a discussion. So I like having a discussion on each of those important things that I brought up. But because I do, I have a tendency to fall behind. And if that is an annoying trait, call me out on it. Let me know. Goldie says he needed to connect and talk with God so he would be in sync with God's plan all the time. And it's definitely harder. If it was hard in a city back then, imagine how difficult it is for us now. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but I think we need to make a greater effort. Goldie says, I don't mind you falling behind, but I see how it could be frustrating to people. I do too. That's why I sort of, one, it's why I make that effort to try to catch up. Um, because if every comment, one thing, I'm skipping uh, hellos between people, or I'm trying to remember, um, and trying to get to skipping some of the conversation between people, not ignoring it, but just, I view it, and then I work on getting to the essence. But as I said, that each comment is worthy of a discussion in and of itself, which means that I could see why um, people want their comments addressed. And if I'm so far behind and they think, you know, well, this is ridiculous, I can understand that completely. Squirrel Sniper says the tree time is fascinating. Its connection with ancestors. The ancestors also provide rules for living, a moral code, as well as rules for interacting with the natural environment. Awesome. I was reading about flint, making a flint arrowhead from stone, um, and that in dream time, it's considered the stone already has the flint in it. That's dream time. The stone is dreaming flint at all times. That even in the midst of a city, it's dreaming the environment at all times. You can't escape it. You can't escape dream time. Which reminds me of the wonderful quote by Michelangelo when he was carving, after he carved David, and he was asked, how did you ever manage to carve David from a single block of stone? And he said David was always in the stone. He just simply removed everything that was not David. So I think about that when I write. The dream time is the presence, the emptiness of the page. But what I'm going to write is already contained within that emptiness, within that dream time. I don't have to do anything. Surrender to that and allow the writing to happen. Destiny says, Eric, are you taking a walk in nature this evening? Nope. My next walk will be at a little bit after 5 in the morning. I'll actually be going to bed, not too far away. Yeah, in order for my real super, super early walks and meditation, which I used to get up 5-ish or so to meditate. But then when I had to take over being the critical caregiver for my father, not just a caregiver, but when he needed more immediate help and I needed to be available, I started getting up earlier and earlier so that I could meditate. And the greatest gift as a caregiver that you can give yourself, meditate or pray, do your breath work so that you learn that patience. Patience is key. Patience with yourself and patient with the person that you're caring for. At all times, patient with the person that you're caring for. So I have to do a bit of a trade-off to get those earlier walks in now. I'm in bed earlier. So I'm trading my evenings for mornings. And morning is so solitary. And again, it's that holy time. Squirrel Sniper says, I was in Australia in the Blue Mountains in 1990 when I was 18 years old for a year. Yeah, I'm reading Arthur Mindell. Is it Arthur? I don't remember his first name. He's a Hungarian psychologist, quantum physicist, and studied shamanism with Aboriginals. Cody says, remember, back then, God didn't just reveal himself to anyone. And I believe it's also guarding the people from being scared. That makes sense. Squirrel Sample says he came home at age 25. Gordy says Squirrel Sniper is 8 years older than me. Squirrel Sniper says, yeah, 50 slipped by sometime when I was looking. It's slipping by me too. I got this last year. Squirrel Sniper says, yeah, just 1 minute. I was 46. Then I'm 51. Gordy says, sorry, Eric Lapointe. It's late here. Numbers refuse to do numbering. Let's see. Another thing that I've been doing is bringing up the conversation on my desktop. So that way I can take a minute and scroll through really quickly and not squint at my phone and see what I'm missing. Destiny says, Squirrel Sniper, the years do slip pretty fast. I am an old soul, and I don't know where the time has gone. I agree. My 50s went by quick, in a flash. The 40s seemed to linger. My 30s were a haze. My late 20s, mid 20s to early 30s were a haze because those were my drinking days. I'm sad to say. It is almost 6:30 here. Squirrel Semper says, you still have that smile, Destiny. That smile is the smile of youth, eternal beauty, wisdom, and inspiration. And none of that ever ages. Goldie says, yes, Squirrel Sniper, you are in the UK. I'm in Romania, 2 hours ahead of you. Lisa says, bless all the early birds, not me. I don't know how I stumbled across being an early bird. Mornings have just gotten to be very, very important to me. I talk quite a bit on the spontaneous gratefulness that occurs. That first thing, eyes open, and there is a thank you, thank you, thank you. Thankful that my eyes open. Thankful that I get to take a deep breath. Thankful of everything that lies ahead of me. Thankful for the roof over my head. Thank you for life, that I exist. I'll quote Meister Eckhart, the German mystic again, saying that if the only prayer we ever said was thank you, that would be enough. Goldie says, I'm not an early bird either. Just going to sleep after Eric's live. So it's 1:22 in Romania. Hey, are there time zones in Romania, or is it too small of a country? I don't know much about the time zones of Europe. Desi says, "Well, Eric, it has been a great, peaceful, and studious. I love coming here to learn and to have my peace and to share and receive love. Got to go now. See you, Eric, and the chat later. Much love, and much love to you too. Destiny, I will remember to post something of the Ayurveda. And I really appreciate you coming in. If there is any peace in the chat, it's because of the peaceful people that come in here and share their time with me. Goldie says, nope, too small for time zones. I'm clicking around real quick. Everyone's saying goodnight. I'll be saying goodnight too in about 5 minutes or so. I did very much uh, enjoy this chat. It's funny. It seems like we've been alternating. Very peaceful chats, and then the next one, things pick up pace a little bit. I think one gives us energy for the other. I think these peaceful occasions help us bear out. Goldie says, Spain, Italy, Germany are an hour behind me. Okay. Hey, what is to the east? I guess I could look that up. The east of Romania. Hey, Eric Lapointe, what I wrote this morning, the rhizomatic path of yoga, it occurred to me rhizomatic just seemed like a very Eric Lapointe word. Rhizomatic being the rhizomatic, the connection of roots, the underground system, and that you can enter at any one point and you're connected to the whole. And you can leave at any one point. Russia, Ukraine is to the east. I'm going to pull up Google. So I know Russia touches Asia. Does Ukraine touch Asia as well? As my father's son, I should know all of this. My father loved everything about maps, everything about geology, everything about geography. For some reason, this conversation has got me thinking of the dividing line between Asia and Europe. Goldie says, nope, Ukraine touches Russia. Kumar says, yes, I saw that. Not live, but on the video. Goldie says, and Romania and Poland. The Silk Road, you mean? Is it the... What is the actual dividing feature that divides Europe and Asia? I love that sort of blend. Goldie says, after Russia is the dividing line. Okay. Goldie says, Ural Mountains, I believe. Just don't quote me on it. Just Googled it. Down the eastern edge, Ural Mountains in Russia, then along the Emba River to the shore of the Caspian Sea. Okay. Because, I think in terms of continents, then we have, more clearly divided continents. Obviously, South America, North America, Europe being separate from both of those two, Australia being separate, Antarctica being separate, it's Africa being separate. There's touching points, of course, but by rights, you sort of could say that being a continuous landmass, that it's one continent. Our friend Duncan is here. Duncan, how are you? We were talking about you earlier. Good stuff. Squirrel Snapper says, have you looked carefully on at the international date line on any map? I haven't. Says here, Wikipedia, between Asia and Europe, dividing Eurasia, along the Turkish Straits, the Caucasus, and the Urals and the Ural River, along with the Kuma Manch Depression, or along the Don River. I guess by rights you could say North America and South America. The fact that they connect. Goldie says it's Eurasia. Duncan says his ears are burning. Lee says, beautiful pace, and I'm beyond grateful I got off early enough to enjoy its entirety. You've been missed on the live streams, Elise. Definitely appreciate your energy. Everyone's getting highs. Duncan says, your push-ups, eat your heart out, briefly. I'm not convinced Bruce Lee couldn't do such a thing. It's interesting to consider. Borders. of course, from the perspective of land, or um, from the perspective, Squirrel Sniper can let me know what he thinks of that. From the perspective of the dreaming, um, there are no borders. There's just Earth. Duncan says, intervals tomorrow. Nope. Today was the chins and dips. And so tomorrow will be more of a slow recovery session. And then Saturday will be intervals, Navy SEALs. And I'm going to do the 2 on at the beginning and 2 off at the end. So I'll probably set it for 24 minutes. Gordy says yes, and Russia is coming nearer and nearer to Romania. Man, I hope not. Eric Point says dreaming is fascinating. It is. Especially from the perspective of the book that I'm reading right now, where the connection between the Aboriginal concept of the dreaming, I don't even want to say concept, the reality of the Aboriginal, the dreaming, quantum physics, and Jungarian psychology. Let's see. Eric Lapointe says, oh boy, Goldie. I agree. Goldie says, I hope not too. That's why there's so much invested in Ukraine. I certainly wish them well. Holgo is here. Hey, Yogi, just got back home from work. How are you, Holgo? Goldie says, but Russian army is advancing. Scary times we live in. So, let's see. I'm looking on Amazon. So, yep, the name of the book that I'm reading, Arnold Mindell, Dreaming While Awake, Techniques for 24-Hour Lucid Dreaming. Holgo says, I'm good, and how are you, Yogi? I'm doing pretty well, too. Duncan says, I look forward to that. So we do the equivalent of 12 sets. 1 times 2, 8 times 1, and final 1 times 2. Yes. So yeah, that would equal to the 24 minutes. That would come out evenly, right? Selina says, have you taken ayahuasca journey or retreat? Do you recommend it? I haven't. Was not that popular or well known in my own psychedelic days. We had LSD, mushrooms, occasionally peyote, DMT. I never licked the toad, but there was synthetic. I think I'd much rather have licked the actual toad. Do I recommend it? Under proper supervision, and with proper supervision, and if you feel that it's part of your spiritual calling, I would say yes, because you can have some amazing breakthroughs with plant medicine. However, as Huxley said in Doors of Perception, um, it becomes a limited opportunity. You enter through a door, but it's almost always the same door thereafter, and you have to start taking more and more and more. So you use it with discernment, you get the insights that it offers, um, and then you rely on meditation, breath work, shamanic drumming, um, that type of thing. That's a great question. Lee says, thank you, my friend. I miss the lives and chat. And you've been missed. August says, hey, Yogi, I did something I've wanted to do for a while. What's that? Goldie says, I was so proud of my fellow citizens when the war broke out. They drove with supplies to the border to help with the refugees people. Refugees people offer their homes to give them shelter. I've never been more proud. That's awesome, Goldie. Man, wait for an entire nation to step up. So, Duncan, I don't know if I mentioned or if you heard me mention that the squats with the burpee chasers didn't work out for me as well as the burpees with the squat chaser. My back's been pretty sore. I suspect tomorrow's yoga and slow burpees will have me ready for each time it goes out of whack again. It seems to be healing a little bit faster. Holgo says, for the first time in my life, I had a Toblerone. Toblerone. I'm trying to think what that is, Holgo. Selina says, most Ukrainian women have fled the country. I wonder if they have enough nurses. It's a good question. Goldie says, yes, it's the nation stepped up before the officials did. Man, you got to love it when that's the way it works. To use the word that Elise used earlier, an organic expression of the people's will, people's love. A nation responding before the government makes up its mind. Eric Point says it's a candy bar. Olga says really tasty chocolate. It sort of comes in a funny package, right? Am I thinking of the right thing? So, Eric Lapointe, dreaming while awake, techniques for 24-hour lucid dreaming. And it's not the type of lucid dreaming that where you're manipulating your dreams. You're recognizing the dreaming within daily life and learning to live from that perspective. You can get it. You can actually get some used copies on Amazon from as low as $2.97. Highly recommend it. I have the hard copy. It came out in 2002, and I bought it around then. And it kept slipping at the bottom. Talking 22 years, it kept slipping to the bottom of my books to read, and for some reason, I got the inspiration to pull it out, and I did, and dived right in. Goldie says, Selena, I believe that they do. What's not advertised is that a lot of foreigners went to volunteer there, among the man I love. I remember that. Olga says, yeah, it comes in a triangle package. Okay. Now I'm getting the hang of it. So it was a new discovery. Gordy says these people are skilled in different areas, so yes, I believe they have enough nurses. Great. People are committed. They see the danger. There's no such thing in those situations as a little expansion. You just don't take a little bit of territory. You get away with it, you take a little bit, and you start thinking about taking more and more and more. Goldie wants to know Holgo's opinion. Fortunately, they've been making more and more, not fortunately for me, as but they make a lot of vegan candy now. I don't eat vegan candy, but I know a lot of vegans missed it. Goldie says it's not only about that. Duncan says, I think this session I quoted adds up to 21 minutes total. 12 minutes of work and 9 times 1 minute rest. To do 23 minutes, I think you have to do 1 times 2 minute, 9 times 1 minutes, 1 times 2 minutes. Useful feedback for you back. Yeah, it is. Goldie says the question is, will they stop where Romania starts? Yeah, that's sort of what I was insinuating, that if they, why not Romania as far as Russia is concerned? Just make another excuse. You know, they're saying they're reclaiming Ukraine. So they make another excuse and say, well, I'm reclaiming Romania, we're reclaiming Poland, we're reclaiming the fact that these are independent nations, and Russia just keeps steamrolling, or Russia would just keep steamrolling. So yeah, I mean, as Goldie says, the question is, will they stop where Romania starts? I think as far as, at least in Putin's mind, is why would we? Goldie says, of course, Romania is a NATO country, and Romania was never part of the USSR. I wonder if NATO will actually be a deciding factor for Russia. I hope so. So, I think with that, I'm going to have to wrap things up for the night. Appreciate you guys being here. Hey, Solana, next time you stop back in, let me know if you're considering psychedelic journey, experimenting with some plant medicine. Goldie says, but the Republic of Moldova is not that fortunate. Sadly. Selena says, do you try to edit sugar and salt from your diet? Not Yes and no. I actually don't try. I don't add anything. I don't add sugar. I don't add salt in my diet. Some of the stuff that I like use will have a little bit of salt in it, but not much. Um, but again, I don't really do it consciously. I stick to, in Ayurvedic and yogic terms, it would be a sattvic diet, eating as close to nature as possible, um, as much live foods as I can. Goldie says that she refuses to watch the news. I'm with you on that. I scroll through some news sites just to stay abreast of what's going on, but I used to be a little more worldly. I'm concerned, but so easy to get lost in that. Selina says Romania would defend itself. Goldie says, of course. Eric Point says another great live. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here and being part of making it a great session. Selena says, I read the teachings of Don Juan mid 1970s. That's about when I read it as well. It was gifted to me older man. He was bedridden. I had a friend who was not a caregiver, but sort of a house. He would clean and he would do some odds and end work for the person. And they had a party there with the man's blessing. And I just remember passing by the room and chatting with him. And for some reason, the teachings of Carlos Castaneda and Don Juan came up, and he gave me the book. And I've read all of his other books since then. Very influenced by Carlos Castaneda. Gordy says, I'm not concerned, Eric. Me being worried would not stop anything except my well-being. I agree. I definitely agree with that. So, we'll end the conversation with a hope for peace, hope for the possibility of peace. And you guys certainly do give me hope that that can be accomplished. So we're going to say goodnight. Appreciate you guys coming in. And I'll see everyone in the morning. Well, I'll be here in the morning. Making sure I'm caught up. I know for my European friends, it's late. So I appreciate you staying up and keeping me company. Gordy says, there's an old song, Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. Doris Day. Believe it or not, I had that 45 when I was a kid. We'll see who's old enough to remember having a 45. Little tiny records. Gordy says yes. So guys, once again, thank you. Really enjoyed this conversation. These are the ones that really, they sort of act as a balm, you know? Elise says, good night. Great people, great chat. Thank you, Elise. Goldie says, thank you for a lovely live and chat. And thank you. Got a thumbs up from Eric Lapointe. Thank you, Eric, Elise, Goldie, Thank you, Selina and Duncan Walsh. Always appreciate when you make it. Um, Stay tuned for the interval work. It'll be coming up. Algo, thanks for coming in. I'm glad you discovered the candy in the triangle package. Um, our dear and sweet friend, Destiny Forever Walks PhD. Making sure I don't miss anyone. Um, you know what? Big thank you for Naradox. Whether you decide you want to come back or not, I hope you do. You're always welcome. As we told Chris K, it's an open door policy. Um, but when you do come, I don't know. I was going to say, uh, come with the attitude of presence and love and kindness. We'll see. But I do hope you come back. It is what it is. Was here. Thomas was here. All kinds of great people were here. Very much appreciated. So thanks, guys. I'll see you all later.